Hello everyone, back in today's video doing JMA Friday today, having a look at the weather next month with Japanese model. Now, I haven't got the update for next month from the CFSB2, but it hasn't updated since the 12th. So I showed you the last update with the CFS on Tuesday for the month ahead, so there's no point showing that again. So what we're going to do for today's video is have a look at the JMA for next month, and then we'll have a look at the JMA charts for the next 3 months, which takes us from October through to December. So a bit of a bumper edition of JMA Friday today. A lot to cram in. I'm going to start off talking about the heavy rain that we had last night and still have in the east this morning. Been some big rainfall totals in eastern parts of the country over the past few hours with flooding and disruptive weather as the heat wave is giving way to really wet conditions. So we'll start off by looking at that in a second. So a lot to cram in before I get on with all of that. Just to say about the ads, there's video ads on pages. If you can give those video ads a watch, they'll close back up again when you've watched them, and you are helping to pay for the website. Thanks so much for doing that. So just starting off with the radar picture from the weather outlook, and as I say, very wet across the eastern part of the country, particularly through Lincolnshire, down in towards the Midlands, particularly the East Midlands, through into East Anglia, and then down into South East England. See, there's some very, very bright colours. Intense rainfall, torrential rain with flooding in those eastern parts of the country. Let's see if that's producing any lightning. A lot of the lightning now is going off in towards the North Sea. That tells us that the cooler air is pushing through, and we're almost on the cool side of this weather system, but we have still got some lightning around East Anglia. I think this will die down a bit over the next hour or two in the east, but then perhaps intensify again on the eastern side. I'm going to say really wet right way through to the end of the afternoon down those eastern coasts. So a wet all afternoon coming up there. Let's have a look and see if the dew points are showing. There they are. And you can see much cooler air is coming in from the west. If we just take away the rain, you'll be able to see that more clearly. So still quite warm and humid in the east with dew points up to around 15, 16 Celsius. But out in the west, we're down just 9, 10, 11. And that cooler air is spreading eastwards all the time. The heat wave is gone, and we'll be feeling much more autumnal now for the rest of the rest of this weekend and into next week, albeit still quite pleasant down in the south. So if you get yourself in that rain, find yourself in the rain over the next few hours, do take care. And there are weather alerts and weather warnings that have been issued by the UK Met Office. We don't issue weather warnings at Gas Office because we're not qualified to do that. So go to the UK Met Office. That's the place to go for warnings and advice in terms of your safety when you're travelling around in severe weather. Go to the UK Met Office and have a look at those weather warnings if you think you're going to be impacted by the weather and you want to know what's going to be happening through the course of this afternoon. Right, get on with JMA Friday then, and we'll deal with the next month first of all, and then we'll have a look at the next 3 months. So as I said, bumper edition, lot to cram in. I'm going to start off 500 millibar height anomalies, looking down from the northern hemisphere down. These broken down into weekly periods, going from today, the 16th of September, through to the 23rd of September for the first week. North Pole is just here, and the UK is around here. So what we see for the coming week in terms of 500 millibar high anomalies, that it's quite unsettled actually. Trough of low pressure in the Atlantic, a ridge further south, and the jet stream is more or less coming through the country. I've got this big ridge up over Scandinavia to the northeast of Europe. That's being pushed backwards by the jet stream and by these areas of low pressure coming in from the west. So that looks quite unsettled, quite changeable for the next week ahead. We go through to week 2, which is the 23rd through to 30th of September. The ridge is building a bit to the south, so this could turn things drier for England and Wales, but it still looks unsettled for Scotland and Northern Ireland, with the jet stream doing something a bit like that. It would bring cloud and rain at times into the north and west, but I think the south probably getting quite a lot of dry weather. Temperatures, I wouldn't expect it to be overly hot because it's more of an Atlantic flow, even with this ridge building up from the south, so probably near normal temperatures a little bit on the milder than average side, perhaps down in the south. Quite pleasant, really. But I wouldn't think that is an overly hot scenario. And then we go through to weeks 3 and weeks 4, which is the 30th of September through to the 14th of October, into the middle of October, and we find that the ridge is being forced back in towards Scandinavia again, and it is starting to move up towards the top of the pole as well, so maybe a little bit of a hint of some northern blocking beginning to start setting up there. Low pressure in the Atlantic is probably bringing westerlies through, so it looks fairly changeable. Well, I would have thought it's quite transitional, maybe fair amount of settled weather start off with in October and then transitioning with time to a more unsettled type pattern. Again, nothing overly dramatic being indicated there. Having a look at the mid-latitude view, that's Northern Hemisphere view, of course, from the pole down. Have a look at mid-latitude view, see the temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with these heights. So British Isles is just here in the far top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. Dealing with week 1, first of all, quite unsettled week. Low pressures in the Atlantic, ridge down to the south, and the jet stream is coming through a bit like that. So for the coming week, the temperature anomaly is coming out generally above average, a bit of a warmer than average week being signalled. Again, not the big deviation of a hot week that we've had over the past few days, just closer to average, but still a little bit on the milder side. The rainfall anomaly is more or less above average. In the far south, it's closer to normal, maybe a little bit below average in the very far south, but most parts of the country, majority of the country, comes out a bit wetter than average for the coming week. Week 2 shows that we've got the ridge down to the south, maybe building up more in towards England and Wales with the low pressure out to the northwest. The jet stream is pushing a bit further northwards with that one as well. Temperature anomaly is coming out warmer than average, particularly so for England and Wales, so quite a mild end to September. Again, not heat wave conditions, but a milder end to September there. Will be a very mild September. This is going to be a really warm month. Whether it's the warmest on record, I'm not sure we'll quite do that, but it's certainly going to be one of the warmest Septembers that we've had for quite a long time. The precipitation anomaly is turning drier for England and Wales, still a bit wetter than average for Scotland and Northern Ireland. And then weeks 3 and 4 we find, can't really see it, but we know that the ridge is going off up here somewhere, and again up here towards the north of Scandinavia. Low pressure is in the Atlantic, probably starting to turn us more unsettled. Temperature anomaly is still coming out a little bit warmer than average into the start of October. Again, not a big deviation, but a bit on the milder side. And precipitation is returning, so my interpretation that it is with time turning more unsettled as the jet stream comes back for the start of October, early October, first half of October, that looks about right, with precipitation anomalies increasing there from the 30th of September through to 14th of October. So quite mild for the next month, and starting changeable, turning a bit drier towards the end of September, and then the rainfall comes back a bit into the start of October. That's the general idea from the JMA today. So let's progress on and have a look at the next 3 months now. So as we know, the JMA, as well as having the month-ahead charts, also has the 3-monthly anomalies. These are going to take us for this month from October through to December, through to the end of the year. These won't be included when we do the winter update, the seasonal model update next Sunday. This won't be included in that update because it only goes to December. It doesn't go far enough into the winter period. But I thought we'd just throw the charts in today so you can have an idea of what the model is seeing for the rest of the year. So for October, the anomaly looks like this in terms of Northern Hemisphere anomaly from the pole down. For October, we've got low pressure around Greenland, Iceland, a ridge across Central Europe, and the jet stream is coming through like that. So it looks most unsettled, this for the north and west. The south and east, close to this area of above average heights, probably getting the driest weather. It's a similar setup to what we've had in September, but probably not as settled, and I wouldn't have thought anywhere near as warm because we are getting more of an interruption from the Atlantic Ocean. But for the south anyway, there would still be quite a lot of dry and settled weather on offer. Go through to November. That looks really quite a strange one. We've got this huge area of above average heights coming through the Atlantic into the UK, and then extending over in towards many parts of Europe as well. I'm not sure about that. It looks very bizarre. The jet stream is up here somewhere. If it comes off, it's going to be a really, really settled November. And of course, in November, under high pressure, you're going to have to think about fog, possibly frost, and quite cold nights. So I'm not sure about that. It looks a very odd chart. That area of above average heights also extends back into eastern and central and even western parts of America. I've never seen anything quite like that, so I'm not sure what the model is doing really for November. And then we go through into December, 3 months away of course, so it is pretty much just for fun, but this is what the model is showing for December. Again, we've got a big area of above average heights around to the west of the UK. There's a trough over the top of the pole, and otherwise not a great deal going on. This ridge extends back in towards the south of Greenland. Maybe the jet stream will be on a northwest-southeast trajectory of that, so it could be quite coolish. But again, it was a very strange chart, that one. So the height anomalies for November and December do look quite odd, particularly for November. Let's have a look and see what the temperature precipitation anomalies are looking like that go with these charts. So starting with October, again, British Isles just here in the far top right-hand corner of the chart. As you're looking at it for October, we've got the ridge down to the south, low pressure up to the north, and we're actually going through like that. You expect quite a mild, dry month down in the south anyway. Temperature anomalies for October are coming out above average, so a warm and average month in October. We have gone for a fairly warm, dry autumn this year, so it looks like it's on course with this. Precipitation is wetter than average in the north and a little bit drier than average down in the south. So it looks dryish for the south, but actually most parts of the country there are coming out a bit wetter than average. Given the height anomaly, that might be a bit over the top actually. I would expect to be a bit drier than that is signalling. Now, how about very odd scenario as we go through into November with high pressure extending from America through the Atlantic into the UK. Let's see what that does with the temperatures. They're still holding up above average, but of course with lots of high pressure, lots of anticyclonic influences, you would have to think about surface level cold in terms of frost and fog. These models can't pick up the signal for surface level cold, so they're looking at the upper atmosphere, which with high pressure extending in off the Atlantic would be quite mild in terms of the upper atmosphere, but down on the surface, if skies are clear, heat is going to radiate away very quickly in November and you'll get frost and fog. The model can't pick up on that. So although the temperature anomaly there for December is above average, for November I should say is above average, actually it could be quite a coldish month if we're stuck under high pressure all the time. The precipitation anomaly is coming out drier than average. You'll expect that with a big ridge extending through. And then finally for December, again, lots of anticyclonic influences being signalled. So once more, you expect quite a dry month in December. It does show a bit wetter than average for Scotland, but otherwise, generally, precipitation is coming out below average. Temperatures, again, they are holding up in terms of what the model is seeing. They are holding up a little bit above average. But again, with so much high pressure around, have to question whether there would be frost and fog. If there is, and the model won't be able to pick up on that because it's surface level cold. If there is frost and fog, it would be colder than that is signalling. Quite odd charts for November and December, and I would take particularly November with a bit of a pinch of salt. I'm not sure the model has got that right by any means. So that's how the next 3 months are looking with the JMA. Coming back to the next month, it looks like got fairly mild conditions coming up, but not as hot as we've had it through the early part of September, and maybe getting a little bit more changeable into early October as well. The next 3 months, October looks changeable for the north, dryish for the south, fairly mild, and then November and December, quite odd looking charts really. It does signal a lot of high pressure around, so it would be a dry end to the year, and those temperatures, the model signals them to be above average, but if you're under high pressure in November and December, you have to think about frost and fog, in which case you're looking at a colder end to the year, perhaps, albeit not deep cold, producing snow, not sort of Arctic or Siberian cold, but just frost, fog on very steel grey days is the kind of thing you get with lots of high pressure in November and December. But the charts do look quite odd for those months, so take it with a pinch of salt. Right, that's it then for JMA Friday. Bit of a bumper edition today. Not sure how long we've been speaking for. Over 15 minutes, so not too bad to cover 3 months. Tomorrow we'll be doing the weekend forecast, of course, as always on a Saturday. And we'll have CFS 6 month look ahead tomorrow evening, so come back for that, or come back for those updates tomorrow. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.